What you saying, Lyle?
Yo, bro,
The
how are
main
you?
man, what you saying? I'm
I'm
good,
good.
bro. I'm good. How you getting on?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. Just enjoying the sun.
How's your day been? You back in yet?
No, we've got our COVID tests tomorrow morning.
Okay, on
Um,
the weekend.
yeah, it was supposed to be yesterday morning, but apparently there was a mix-up with some of the tests being delivered, so they had to delay 4 clubs, and we were one of them until
Okay.
tomorrow morning. But we should have the results back by Monday still, so yeah, it should be all right.
Yeah, man. A lot of Charlton fans have been inboxing saying, "Yeah, can you ask Lyle this? Can you ask that?" Like you're seen as the spokesman for the club. They like your brutal honesty, man. So obviously, yeah, today's gonna be a good one. So today we want to talk about like mental health and football. Obviously, it's Mental Health Week. We want to talk about Charlton, the season, as it stands.
Yeah,
Obviously, started off well, then the form plateaued. And we want to talk about off the field events as well,
cool.
like Southall and the Mayor. So, yeah, we'll crack things off, man. So, yeah, what's your view on like mental health as a footballer? Because we had Moses Odebajo on our platform, and obviously he had 2 years out, and he's going through like depression and things like that. So, how do you manage your mental health as a footballer?
So the first thing is I know about Moses. I know about Moses, and I know his journey. I know how hard he's worked. To be fair to him, and he's obviously had the massive highs of the Premier League and the massive lows of 2 years out of the game and what have you. So I know about that kind of thing. And to be honest, it's becoming a bigger and bigger thing
Mm.
because there's a light being shone on it, and it's a good thing that the light's being shone on it. Now, personally, myself, I can't speak on mental health from my own point of view because I've been fortunate enough to not have suffered to the point of depression and things like that. Now, as a footballer, we all suffer.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like we all suffer. We all go through massive highs and massive lows. Like I remember the lowest I've felt is I didn't ever want to play football again after I missed a penalty for Wimbledon. We were playing MK Dons, and obviously
Mm.
it's quite a
Yeah.
there's quite bad blood between the two
Mm.
teams, and understandably so. So I missed the penalty, and we ended up losing at home, and that was one of the lowest times for me. I didn't want to play football again, and I struggled. So that's how I've had it before, but I've not had it to the point of being depressed and needing to seek professional help for that. I can understand just from that small bit of experience I've had of it that it must be like a hellish place to be completely honest with you. It must be horrendous to be in that frame of mind and have that kind of thought process. And I hope I'm never there. If I'm completely honest with you, I really do hope I'm never there. But it's good that a light has been shone on it from so many players that are in the game now, so many ex-players and so many healthcare professionals as well. So I hope that anybody who suffers, whether they're watching this or whether they see this at a later date or whatever, I hope they can actually speak to someone and get the help that they need because it's no joke, it's no laughing matter.
Yeah, so how do you cope with those down days? Because obviously, as a professional footballer, it's inevitable. You're going to have a bad game. Like, you're going to get abuse from fans. Then, when you leave that stadium and you're inside your house and you're mulling over like a poor performance or something, how do you deal with it? Is it family or do you just reflect yourself and think, you know what, tomorrow's a new day and I'll crack on with it and make it better?
So my go-to is my family, but by the same token, I think I can't remember which manager it was. It might have been Sean Dyche that said it, and he said you can't. Don't we? He said at Burnley we never get too high with the highs and we never get
Mm.
too low with the lows. And I think he was talking about they must have beat one of the top six, the big six, or whoever it was. And I remember him clearly. I remember him saying it, and it's the truest statement because like you go, you score a couple of goals, you have a good game, and you're the best thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you miss a penalty, you miss a chance, you cost the team a goal, you lose, and
Big up
and
Carlin Grant. Carlin Grant's just trying big him up. Top striker.
So it's one of them things. It's one of them things you have to take the rough with the smooth, and like he said, you can't get too high and you can't get too low. At the end of the day, there is going to be another game around the corner. So just focus on doing what you did well better, and what you didn't do so well better as well. So that for me, between that and family, is everything for me.
Yeah, so now we want to move on to Charlton, the season so far. Before the season began, I remember there was rumours about Lee Bowyer leaving the club. And there was like a 24, 48-hour period where Roman came out and said the manager's not signed new terms. And as players, was that information relayed to you?
Well, I was in Barcelona when it was all happening.
Okay. Yeah.
And at this point, I wasn't banned from Twitter. So,
Okay.
so it was interesting for me because it was like, what do you mean the manager's not signing? What? But to be honest with you, when I had the conversation, the manager didn't know that the owner was putting that statement out.
Wow.
So if like I don't know if anyone knows this. I don't know if it ever came out as well, but like the manager didn't know that statement was being put out. And the when I spoke to him, he said to me, he said, like, the first thing that happened is I got a call off my wife, and she's saying to me, like, Lee, what's going on? Like, you've walked away from Charlton, you've left the job, like he's taken a contract away and that's it. And he was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? We were in
Yeah.
negotiations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he didn't know that had happened, and he didn't know it was happening. So it was a bit of a strange one, to be honest. But I knew it would never come to that. It was always going to be
Okay.
sorted. So I went on Twitter as I did and had a little bit of fun with it, and it
Yeah.
was quite funny. But
Mm.
like looking back at it now, it was it was like something out of EastEnders.
So don't you think that sums up, the club for the last few years under Roman and obviously now under the new regime? It's like an episode of EastEnders, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was probably a lot more. No, not probably. There was a lot more stability with Roland as the
Mm.
owner.
Yeah.
Like you only have to look at and see what's coming out. Like all of this madness that's coming out. It's actually crazy. Every other day, like there's some sort of screenshot or something being put on Twitter or
Yeah.
Instagram bro, I can't even keep up with it. It's mad.
Mm. So yeah, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna move on to the season. Obviously, he got promoted courtesy of beating Sunderland, and obviously the pre-season started. There wasn't that much backing from Roland. Obviously, his priorities were elsewhere. He made it clear that he wasn't interested in the club, that he couldn't afford to give 2 minutes to the club. So we already saw where his liabilities lied. So in the summer, he signed some free transfers. Obviously, Dej, Erhan, Macaulay Bonne. So going into this championship season, were you confident of, you could achieve something?
Yeah, we were confident. I mean, I won't say we were overly confident, but we thought that with the togetherness we had in the squad from last season, that we would be able to grind out results and enough results to keep us safe and in the league. And obviously, it started it started so well. Like
The
it's actually
dream.
mad. It started unbelievably well. Um, and then what happened with the injuries and this and that, and it's crazy how it's gone. I suppose what's happened in the last, I don't know what it is, 9 months, 10 months, or whatever it is crazy. But um, it's football. It's football. It's highs and lows, and like it's a roller coaster. You only have to look at last season to realize that football is mad. It is a proper roller coaster, and it's not about where you start. It's about where you finish, and nothing proves that more than this season and last season.
Yes, you had to fly in August. You were banging them in. The team were full of confidence. Then obviously you went on international duty and you had an injury, obviously a knee injury, which put you out for 14 weeks. I remember reaching out to you during that period to like come on the pod, and you were like sort of like saying, "Now is not the right time. I want to get healed so I can help my teammates."
Yeah.
So if you could just explain to us like the process of going through those 14 weeks, having to watch on the sidelines, knowing you couldn't help the team.
Well, in that 14 weeks, I think I only watched 3 games. Um, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
All right.
I
Yeah.
supported the boys during the week when I was in and whatever, but I couldn't go and watch the games. I just could not do it. Um, it was torture for me, and someone who's never been injured like I was this season. It was difficult, and I struggled with it. I did struggle with it. Now, initially, the injury was only supposed to be 8, 9 weeks, and every time I came back, I broke down. Like I couldn't pass the ball with the inside of my foot, and because of basically the pain shooting up the outside of my leg and into my knee, and then it was something else, and I think I ended up breaking down like 3 times,
Wow.
and that was the hardest thing for me because I was there with some of the other injured boys, and it was like, right, you're back then, I'm back then. Like, we're doing this together. We're doing the same runs, we're doing the same stuff, and all of a sudden it was he's back in training and I'm back inside like another week, like off feet, completely off feet. So it was like this is hell. This is hard, and I struggled, and I don't know how hard some of the boys who have had long term injuries have had to work, and I never did understand it. And to this day, I don't understand it because I was only out for, like you say, 14 weeks. There's some boys are out for 9 months. Some boys are out for a year. A good friend of mine spent, I think it was about 18 months. A very good friend of mine spent 18 months out with a basic pubis symphysis problem, and like I'd speak to him and wouldn't really put too much emphasis on like he'd been out for this amount of time and like how's he getting on kind of thing. It was just like, how are you? Okay, how's the missus, little man, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's only now that I realised that it's very, very, very difficult. Very difficult.
So how was Lee Bowyer with you around the time of your injury? Was he understanding? Did he say, you know what, now stay away from the club, do what you need to do, just know we've got your back? Or how did he communicate with you?
Well, for the first 4 weeks, I was non-weight bearing, so I couldn't drive, I couldn't walk, I was on crutches, so there wasn't really a lot to do in that first 4 weeks. I was going in a couple of days a week after the first 2 weeks, and the manager was supportive of me, to be honest. I'd go up, I'd have conversations with him in the morning, and he'd ask how I was and things like that, and we just knew that I wanted to be back. So it was one of them. It was difficult because the only thing I wanted was to get back and to be playing, and I couldn't do it. Like for the life of me, I was in 9 until 4 every day for, I don't know, it must have been 10 weeks in the end or something like that, and it was just it was stupid. I just could not get back. I couldn't get back to where I was before the injury.
Yeah, I remember there was a game against, I think, Swansea away. I was watching, and I think you got subbed up for half time. I think you had like a thigh injury. Was
Yeah.
that still like the remnants of the knee injury? Because you know when you get massive injuries, other parts around the area start to go as well because they need to get strengthened. Or was that like a fresh one?
So that was a fresh one.
Okay.
That happened, I don't know if I should say, but that happened 2 weeks before, and I played on, and I carried on playing, and I think I played 3 games of it, and I just kind of thought I'd get through it and it'd stop hurting eventually, and it didn't. It got worse, to the point that in the warm up, before that game, I had a shot, and I was like, nah, I can't do this. So I kind of had to tell the physios and stuff like that I'd had a shot in the warm up and I'd felt this and I hadn't felt it before. And because if I'd have said, look, I've played with this for the last 2 weeks, they'd have said, well, what are you doing? But at the end of the day, I wanted to play and I wanted to keep playing. So I played with it, and it got worse and worse and got to the point that I couldn't do it. I couldn't run. I couldn't strike the ball. And then I think it was 2 weeks on the sidelines, and I was pushing to be back in a week. And they were like, no, you can't do that. And then it was, right, you'll come back and we'll limit your minutes and we'll manage your training load and stuff. And I'm like, no, just let me get back. I
Yeah.
want to be back. I want to play. But that mindset doesn't really help when you've had that injury, the big injury, and then a little niggly one after. So they've managed me well, to be fair. And I have to thank them for how they've managed me, because they've helped me.
So was that the pressure of being like the main talisman? You know, you're the pin-up boy for Charlton. When you speak to the Charlton fans, they're like, you know, without Lyle Taylor, we're going down. But with Lyle Taylor, we've got a chance. So was that the sort of pressure that you put on yourself to make yourself available for the team?
I don't think it wasn't pressure from the fans or anything like that. It was more like I wanted to be back and I wanted to be playing. So there was no extra pressure from elsewhere. It was pressure I suppose put on myself, and it was my own will to get back and play games that I needed to be back.
Okay, fair enough. So obviously post January, you know, the team were on a bit of a slump. There were poor results. At that time in the changing room, when confidence is low, what was Lee Bowyer's message to you? Because I've read some articles and he said, you know what, realistically, when you look at our budget, we shouldn't be competing with majority of the teams in this league. So we
Yeah.
need to try and hang in there and get results.
So the mentality is to try and win. Like,
Yeah.
as stupid as that might sound, like, it's literally just, let's go out there and we work as hard as we work, and as long as we give everything, the result should take care of itself, kind of thing. And I am a firm believer in you give everything, and there was games where it didn't quite work out. We didn't get that little bit of luck, or little things happen, and we give away stupid goals, maybe a little mistake from someone, and that happens. But that happens in football. So the only thing we can do, and the only thing you can ever do in football, is to work as hard as you possibly can, and hope that that little bit of luck comes, and you pick up the result.
Yeah, so as we stand now, Charlton in the relegation zone, there's talks about if the season ends, it'll be based on a points per game ratio, which obviously the manager, and I can imagine, you know, the players aren't happy about it. So how do you think the season should end if the games can't be continued? Because I think Lee Bowyer was talking about maybe we go to the halfway stage and we do a points average, something like that.
See, I get that, but even then, I don't think that's fair. Some teams will have a poor first half and a good second half of the season. I mean, take Stoke, for example. I think they were bottom halfway through the season, and now they're not safe, but they're fine. They're in a position where they've picked up results and they're doing well and they're playing better than they were before. So it's difficult. I don't think you can't relegate at the halfway stage the same way you can't really relegate now. We sign up to a 46 game season, so the way I see it is, if the 46 games can't be played, then the season has to be voided. It has to be. But
So
then
there should be no promotions, no relegations, or
see, I think that's right, but it's virtually impossible because nothing is fair. So, like, the teams at the top of the league and the teams at the bottom of the league either gain or lose if that happens. So it's difficult. I don't know how they're going to do it if the games don't get played. I mean, I can see the games being played now because they're pushing it hard. They're forcing it. I'll be honest with you. And
so what's your view on that? Are you comfortable with that? Because in the Premier League, we've seen players like Troy Deeney, N'Golo Kante say, you know what? I'm not playing. I'm not risking my family's life. I'm sitting this one out. What's your view on that?
I think they're entitled to do that. If you have valid reason, the same way with some of our boys, two of our boys' wife and girlfriend are pregnant. So I can understand if they said, no, we can't do this. Some of the boys have got kids or misses, and they've got asthma. And I can understand if they said, we can't do this. And that goes for any team. I mean, you see this, even the Millwall fans, like, even Millwall players, like, they have exactly the same problems that any footballer has in their family, whether it's their mum, their dad, their missus, their kids, whoever it might be. Like if they feel that they have to like not be a part of this because it's the right thing for their family, then that's how it has to be. It can't be any other way. And I find it difficult because it's almost like we are being forced into doing this because of money. Like they're pushing this because of money. That's why they're doing it. So if there wasn't £750 million that had to be paid back to Sky, would they be forcing this like they're forcing this? That's my question. That's my question. And I've said this, it's funny as well, because I said this from about 2 weeks in, and then I see Gary Neville a week later saying, well, if it wasn't for the money, would we be forcing this? Would we be trying to get this on? Like with the threat of loss of life, would we be trying to do this? And I don't think we would. I'll be honest with you, I don't think we would. Now, we are. Point. Fact of the matter is we are. So
what's your view on it personally? Like, do you feel safe going back?
I don't like it.
Because I speak to a lot of players in the Championship, and a few players are saying, you know what, they don't feel safe to go back, but if they don't go back, they're going to be looked at as a bad egg and stuff like that. What's your view?
I don't like it. I'll be honest, I really don't like it. Now, am I going to do my test tomorrow? Yes. If my test results come back, am I going to go in next week? Yes. If I go in next week and I don't like it, then we can. Everyone has that ability to opt out. So if that's the case, then anyone and everyone who doesn't feel safe or feels that they have valid reason can opt out, and that's the way I see it. We've all been sent a DocuSign letter today that we've all had to sign, saying that we opt in. If you opt in, if you opt out, you opt out. It's that simple. So I've opted in. I'm going for my test tomorrow, and I will be, as long as the test's fine, I will be in on Monday morning, Monday at whatever time it is.
All right. Before we move on, all the followers are there. You know, if you like, you can follow our Instagram page at @pod_TBG. We're also on Twitter at podcast_TBG. I'm on YouTube, The Beautiful Game Podcast. So yeah, Lyle, as you know, this season it's been full of, controversy off the pitch, namely due to Matt Southall and Nima. There's been like a civil war, allegations coming out that Southall is draining money out of the club. There's been allegations about his white Range Rover, living in a lavish, flat or apartment. And there's also allegations about Nima, not putting money into the club as he was, promised to do as part of his takeover. What's your view as this is a player? And also, do you players talk about it? And has it affected you this season?
We speak about it every day.
Okay.
Even now, like it's still being spoken about. Now, I can't say too much going forward. Depending on what happens, I don't know. But what they've done is turn the club into a laughing stock, if I'm completely honest. It's a sham. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It really is embarrassing. And do you know the thing? Like, we might have a conversation and almost laugh about it and be like, oh, fucking hell, I can't believe they're doing this or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But it's actually embarrassing. Bro, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like you've got two grown men, big men, having a full-blown civil war, like you're saying, in public. Like a boardroom spat, throwing handbags, lipstick getting thrown across the room at each other. Bro,
yeah.
They're big men. They're big men. They're not kids. It's not like they don't know business. Whether they're any good at business is another question. But it's not like they don't know business. If me and you are going to have a business conversation, We're not going to take that conversation. We're not going to have it in a public on a public
Mm.
forum. It's not going to happen because it's embarrassing. Like, I can't believe some of the things that I've seen. It's mad. It's actually mad. And I'll be completely honest. The sooner it's sorted out, the better for everyone.
So how
And
do you think it's going to be resolved? Because you see Matt Southall, I think, last week the situation turned for the worse. It hit a new low. He threatened, to sue the Charlton Athletic Supporters Trust. What's your view on
um, my view on that,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, the smile says it all. My view on that. My view on him, the smile says it all. Like,
So what's your view on Matt Southall? Because when he came to the club, there was the glossy, press conferences. Within 5 years, I want to take Charlton to the Premier League. We're gonna build a brand spanking new training ground at Sparrows Lane. We want to be debt free. We want to build youngsters for the future. What's your view on Matt Southall, the man?
He's a fraud. He's a fraud.
What? Okay.
He's a fraud. It's that simple. He's a fraud.
So what's your dealings with him? Because I know, there was rumours about the new contract being laid on the table for you. Then obviously it was rescinded.
Yeah.
Then he came out to the press and said Lyle Taylor has rejected a new contract.
Yeah.
Do you feel that he was using you as a pawn to increase his, popularity?
100%. 100%. I said this. Look, I know about him. I'm telling you, I know about him. I know everything you need to know about him. I know about his past. I know about past dealings. I know everything. I promise you, I know everything. And I've known this since September, October. So
when he came into the club, you knew.
I already knew. I had his number. I already knew. I knew everything about him because I spoke to plenty of people. Plenty of people. And plenty of people got enough to say about him. And that's people who know him personally. And that's people who have had business dealings with him. I know him. I know who he is. I know his character. Okay? Now, what he has come and done, this isn't the first time he's come and done stupid stuff like this. That's all I'm going to say on that.
So what's your view on Nemir as well? Because he seems to be, the main man, the majority shareholder. Apparently he's living abroad. He's meant to be pumping the money to the club. But apparently, if rumours are to be believed, you hear that the players might not be getting paid this month.
I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know enough about him to know. I don't. Now, does he have enough money to bankroll a championship club? I don't know. I don't know. Does he have the willingness to bankroll a championship club? I don't know. Now, I've seen a couple of things and people have put a couple of comments and things about what's happened today or what hasn't happened today. Now,
I think that's rumours regarding Southall apparently wanting to sell his share, 6 figures or something, just to cut losses with Charlton.
For something he paid £1 for. For something he paid £1 for. It's embarrassing.
So in your opinion, do you think that says all you need to know about Matt Southall?
Everything you need to know. Everything. Like, from when you keep threatening to sue everyone who has anything to say, anything bad to say about you, like, come on, man. Like, I get enough messages, and there's plenty of stuff probably been written on here about Lyle's this, Lyle's that. I get plenty of messages calling me every name under the sun. Now, I don't turn around saying, well, I'm going to sue you because you called me an idiot, or I'm going to sue you because you called me this or called me that or said this about me. Well, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, if you know it's not true, then you know it's not true. The only reason you try and sue someone is if somebody says something and it resonates. And it wouldn't resonate if there was no truth in it. Okay, so when the Supporters Trust come out and say whatever they've said, then there seems to be reason for it. And there seems to be enough to back it up that they've not just pulled something out of the sky and said, well, Matt Southall's got really good hair. Like, do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like something like that. Like, they've not just come and said something, pulled something out of the sky and said, nah, this is what it is. No, that doesn't happen, because people know that as soon as you start doing that, you lose credibility in yourself. So if I came out in September, October, when I found out about what I found out about and said whatever I had to say,
What can you disclose what you found out about?
no,
Because the fans, you
I
can't
can't.
disclose.
I
Okay.
can't, because honestly, some of the stuff, no.
So do you believe some of this stuff might come to light in the next, coming months and years?
No, probably not, to be honest,
'Cause,
because these dealings are with people that wouldn't come to light because of.
when you speak to Charlton fans as well, they say he's a chancer, that he's trying to prey on opportunity, try and liquidate the club, take assets out, strip it, then move on to pastures new. He has
Yeah.
no real care for the club. Would
Well,
you
I mean,
agree with that?
100%, 100%. Somebody who is willing to literally walk in, just take as much money as they possibly can before they get caught, and then get volleyed out the door. That person isn't a good person. That's not the kind of person you want to be the chairman of your football club. And I feel sorry for the Charlton fans, because they had a rough time with Roland. What I will say in Roland's defence, and the only thing I will say in Roland's defence, is that Roland always paid the bills. That's the only thing I can say in Roland's defence. But they had a rough time with Roland, with everything that happened, and the managerial sackings and the selling of players and stuff like that. And they've had a rough time. Now, I feel for them. I really do feel for them. And then just when you think it couldn't get any worse, fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledum turn up.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it only comes out 6 months later.
And that's the thing. With this takeover, like, I know when Matt Southall and the mayor came in, the fans were like, hallelujah, we can move on to the future. Not knowing they were going to be worse. And what's your view on Charlton fans? Because when you speak to them, they laud you as, you just speak brutally honest. You're one of them. Obviously, you're local. You were born in like Greenwich and that. So you resonate. They see someone that, you're one of them out there on the pitch kind of thing. So what's your view on the fans?
The fans are brilliant. I mean, aside from the little bit of stick I got, and I've said this before, and maybe my wording was a little bit wrong, because I've said about, I said about the fans, and I used the fans as a whole. Obviously, it's not the whole. Like, there's not every one of the fans had something to say on my situation. So I've got a lot of time for the fans, and I hope that at some point in the very near future, that this can all be sorted, kind of thing, and they actually get the owners that the football club deserves. Because I'm not a football fan myself, but it must have been hell having to see your football club go through what they've seen their football club go through in the last, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, or whatever it was.
There's worries from the fans that this might turn into, a Bolton situation. There's 16 players out of contract at the end of June. And we saw what happened with Bolton when they had to lose their players. They started playing the kids and they started taking pastings. And now, they're League One oblivion sort of thing.
I hope it doesn't get to that. I hope it doesn't get to that, because the same way with Bolton, it'll be an absolute travesty. Can you imagine a big club like Bolton and another big club like Charlton, like lavishing or going under like Bury did? It'd be an absolute joke, and it'd be a shambles if it did happen. And I really hope that it doesn't happen like that, because it won't be good. It won't.
So in your opinion, is the club being run like a fruit store? Like anything's going, no receipts, just, a joke?
I think fruit stalls might be run better. uh, I, I remember the fruit stall in EastEnders getting run quite well, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But no, like I really, really hope that everything can be sorted, and I know there are a lot of people who are hoping for the same thing, if I'm completely honest, and that includes all of the players, everyone that's associated with a football club, and everyone that works at a football club.
Yeah, so I want to move on to, Lee Bowyer and Steve Gallen. I was listening to Lee Bowyer speak about you, and it was like you remind him of Mark Viduka. Like you put your arm around you, tell you you're the best thing since sliced bread, then you'll give him a goal. So how's your relationship with Lee?
I have a great relationship with him. At the end of the day, before I signed for him, I had to have a meeting with him because I had a reputation that preceded me, let's say. Now, I had a meeting with him, and as soon as I had the meeting, he said to my agent, like, that's not the player everyone has told me. That's not the person everyone's told me that he is. So from that point, I was like, yes, I respect you. Taking the time to sit down with me. Yeah, I'm sitting there. Sorry, bro. I just got a call. You've taken the time to sit down with me, and in doing that, you have realised that I am the person that I am. I'm not somebody who has been described to you. So for that, I instantly took a liking to him. And from that point to this point, I've had a great relationship with him. I can't even remember falling out with him, to be honest. I've fallen out with I fall out with everyone. But I've fallen out with plenty of managers before for various reasons. Even ones I've been successful under. Stephen Presley, I remember falling out with him. He didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. Neil Ardley.
In Scotland, was that in Scotland?
When I was at Falkirk. He didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Wow.
We ain't going to get into that story because it's a long one. But Neil Ardley, I fell out with Neil Ardley, and he didn't talk to me for about 3 weeks. Wow. So, like, I've had.
Were they still playing you during this period, or
yeah. I was still scoring goals. I was still scoring goals, so it was all right. It was all good. But no, they didn't talk to me. So, like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, you fall out with people, you make up, and everything's all good. But I have respect for those people. So, and they have respect for me. So because of that, the relationship has always been good.
Yeah, so when you see Lee Bowyer, obviously throughout his career, he was an accomplished midfielder for Leeds, Newcastle. We all remember that scrap on the pitch, with Kieran Dyer. So what would you say his managerial style is like?
He's the complete opposite. He's the opposite.
He came out and said, he's firm but fair. Those are his principles. I'm firm but fair. So how would you describe him?
He's the complete opposite of what you'd think.
Okay.
So, like, people talk about Lee Bowyer and they talk about the fight with Kieran Dyer and they talk about like run-ins and the things that have happened in his past. But he's the complete opposite. He's calm. He very rarely loses his rag. When he does lose his rag, like, come on, like, sharpen up a little bit. So I've got a great relationship with him, and he's a real good guy. He's a real good guy, and he's obviously a good manager.
So what about Steve Gallen? He's had a tough job during this period, trying to recruit under very limited and restricted circumstances. There's been an embargo, so he's had to go for loan moves, try and hustle with West Brom, getting Lecco and Field. So how would you say he's done his job at the club under these, restricted circumstances?
Well, I mean, if you look at the team that between him and the manager that they put together last year, and you see how well they did in signing the players they've signed this year, then that tells you everything you need to know about how good he is at his job. And that, for me, is the measure of the man, to be completely honest with you. He's obviously very good at his job, and I believe he'll continue to be good at his job, and with maybe a bigger budget, he could be even better. Who knows? I hope he gets the chance to actually get that opportunity and to get that pot of gold almost to bring the players in that he deems to be the best in their position or whatever, that a better budget would allow him to do, because obviously there's a mass of players out of contract at the club this summer, so it's going to be a big rebuilding job regardless.
All right, before we move on to the next part, again, if you're new to this conversation, follow at pod_TBG on Instagram and at podcast_TBG on Twitter, and the Beautiful Game podcast on YouTube. We've got lots of good content coming out. So yeah, the last part of this segment, obviously we want to talk about your, contract situations, and, the club, the players and the fans want to know your future, because, there were some failed bids with Brentford. There's interest from Sheffield Wednesday, if you believe the rumours. So what actually happened with these Brentford rumours?
So, look, the bids went in. Like, it didn't happen.
Did you want to go at the time? And we're not disrespecting Charlton fans, by the way.
The opportunity I was offered was one that I wanted to take. It didn't happen. So I could have, like I've said before, I could have thrown my toys out the pram. But I didn't. There were words. Words were had. I'm not going to lie about that. Words were had between me and the manager and me and the club. And I felt that what I had given, I deserved maybe a little bit more respect than what was afforded to me. Ultimately by Roland, not really by the manager, or not really by Steve Gallen, who was the head of recruitment at that point. So I felt like I'd earned that, and I felt like I was offered an opportunity that I couldn't say no to. The same way when I was offered the opportunity to come to Charlton, I couldn't say no to that opportunity. I had an offer, let's say financially, a better offer from Sunderland, but I didn't take that, and it was because of the opportunity that was afforded to me by Charlton and by Lee Bowyer. So that happened. Words were had. We had a conversation, and less than 48 hours later, I was on the pitch back at the Valley, playing against Stoke. So my teammates, like literally, I was back in the fold the day after. Not an issue. Teammates didn't have any sort of problem with anything I'd said or done, or the way I'd acted. And to this day, my teammates don't have an issue with what happened and what I did. So that tells me that I didn't really do anything out of character or wrong. I simply wanted to do the best for myself at that point. And I got on with it. Like I say, like, words were had, because obviously you would have to have a conversation. So regardless of how harsh or how bad those words might have been, or how hard that conversation might have been to have, the relationship I had with the manager, I had that conversation. So that was dealt with, done. Carried on playing. Obviously then the knee injury happened. Roland offered me a contract, and that was rejected. And then these lot come in, and Southall decided to do what he was doing and try and throw me under the bus. So it happened. I don't regret anything that's happened, because at the end of the day, my journey to this point has been mad. You know my journey to this point. We've had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my journey onwards from this point, wherever that is, however that goes, will be mad as well. Like, I'm not expecting it to be smooth sailing. So, like, I'm happy right now. I'm happy. I am glad I chose to play for Charlton. I don't know what the future holds, because if I'm completely honest with you, football has been shut down. People won't know this because they're not inside football. They're not in the fold.
Yeah.
Like, when I tell you that nobody is speaking to anybody, nobody is speaking to nobody.
Of your agent speaking to Charlton, or your agent speaking to other clubs?
Nobody is speaking to nobody. I'm telling you, because football has shut down, because nobody knows when football's coming back, and nobody knows when football comes back what it's going to look like. That's the problem. So Right now, the whole of football shut down. You'll see you'll see at the top of the game, nothing changes. Nothing changes. Them man still got so much money, it's ridiculous. Like they got more money than they know what to do with, kind of thing. So, and that's the reason this is going back on, so that they continue to keep that money that they don't know what to do with, kind of thing. So that's how football is. Now, I just hope that at this level and the levels below in the professional game, that clubs don't go under. Because at the moment we're talking about we've got 71 professional football clubs playing in the football league. Now I hope that doesn't become 70, 65, 62, like however many. I hope to God they don't go under, because it will be a massive shame for the thousands of football fans and the thousands of players that are out there and playing for all of these football clubs at all of these levels to see a club. I don't know anything. I don't know any inside information if they're watching this, any Wimbledon fans, but let's say, for instance, my old club, Wimbledon, go under, Charlton go under. Like, I don't want to see anything like that. And that would be the hardest thing to see, is any football club. I mean, there's clubs that their fans really don't like me, or let's say we have a different kind of relationship. So Plymouth, for example, I hope to God a club like Plymouth, even though we've had our run-ins, me and their fans, and me and Plymouth, like the clubs I've played for, and Plymouth, I hope to God these clubs don't go under, because it'd be horrible. It'd be horrendous, man.
With the situation so delicate, players are being given opportunities to maybe leave when their contract ends or extend to when the season ends. For you, if the season ends, let's say in July or August, would you be open to extending it to when the season ends?
It has to be, at the end of the day, for me, this has to be step by step. So they're saying that there's 3 steps. So step 1 is training in groups of 5 or whatever it is. Step 2 is then going to be team training. And then step 3 is going to be the matches. So I can't really pass judgment on anything until I've been involved in step 1. Once I've been involved in step 1, then I might be able to pass judgment on what's going on in step 2. Then I can pass judgment on step 3. And only at that point, once the outline of what step 3 will look like, can I actually turn around and say, this is what I want to do. This is how we're going to do it. Let's get this sorted. Now, every player who agrees a contract to continue playing will have to agree that contract individually with the football club. The loan players will have to agree with the parent club and the club they're on loan with. So every player is going to be in an individual circumstance. Now, I can't say that by the end of next week, I won't say, no, I don't like this, I'm opting out. I can't say that because I haven't been there. I haven't done it. But with the way everything is, I don't like it. I'll be honest, I don't like it. I don't like this.
So can you see a situation where you say, you know what, I'm opting out. I don't like the way I feel. I feel like my health is being compromised. I don't feel right for my family. You know what? Enough's enough.
Oh, 100%. I can see myself. I can see myself opting in and playing and staying in and training and getting fit and whatever. And I can see myself going, I don't like this. This ain't right. This isn't comfortable. This isn't what I want to do. I can't say for definite until I've been and done it. So it might sound like people might say, oh, well, you're dodging the question. Like you like it's just a yes or no answer. It's not a yes or no answer, because at the end of the day, like, so everyone's seen the protocols, right, for what they're saying. So get this. I can't travel to a game of football with my teammates who are also being tested twice a week, right?
Yeah.
But I can be marked and fight and scrap and whatever with some bloke that I don't know who has been tested, who I don't see every single day. How does it work? I don't get how that is. How? Explain that to me. Can you explain that to me? Because I can't explain it.
Yeah.
If everyone, like this person just said, Gishni, right? If everyone tested negative, would I still feel comfortable? Well, no, but the problem is what they're testing is what was in your body 5 days ago. So if I test right now, what are we, Friday? They're
Yeah.
testing whatever happened in my life before Monday. Between Monday and now, I could have picked this up. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's a
so
very nuanced and delicate
this is the
situation.
problem. This is what they're not really telling everyone, that they're testing what happened to you 5 days ago. So let's say, for instance, one of our players, right, his little boy or little girl is at nursery. They go to nursery, they come back, they have it, right? You won't know for 5 days if you've got it, let alone if they've got it. And that's if you can get them tested and prove that they've got it.
Yeah,
So
these tests,
can you understand
yeah.
how the whole system is just mad? It's just ridiculous. But yet they're pushing this on us and forcing this on us because apparently we should go, and we're part of the industry where we need to be there and entertaining people. Like, we're not normal human beings. Like, I can get the flu, I could die the same way anyone else can die.
So what? So, to a certain extent, do you agree with what Danny, Rose was saying, that footballers are being treated like lab rats, that no one cares
Guinea
about
pigs.
them? You think so, yeah?
Guinea pigs. That's what we are. We're guinea pigs. So the best part of it is we're not the first guinea pigs. The Premier League are the first guinea pigs because they get paid a lot more. So they're the first guinea pigs. So we are now like we're the second wave of guinea pigs once they've already tested and killed all of the first ones.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
So what do you think the season should be rendered null and void?
I think that's the only way that you can possibly do it. Like, it's not going to be fair. To your Leeds, your West Broms, your who else is chasing promotion? Fulham, Brentford, Nottingham Forest. It's not going to be fair. There is no way of making it fair. But there is also no way of finishing this season with a full quota. Every team having a full quota of players. So let's say, for instance, right, they're saying that black and minority ethnicities, right, we are twice as likely to die should we get this as white people. So, okay, me, Prats, Chooks, Maka, Deji, who else? And whoever else, right? Let's say we turn around and say, we ain't playing. But at Hull, for instance, because that's the next game that we have to play, all of their black players say, no, we're going to play. Charlton are then weaker than they were before, the week before, because all of a sudden, some of the players that would have filled that squad or some of the players that would have played in that team aren't playing. So even if, like you say, with Watford are losing their club captain, their leader in Troy Deeney. If Troy doesn't play, are Watford weaker or stronger without him?
Weaker, 100%.
Exactly. So let's take, for instance, we'll take our let me put an 11 together in my head. You've got Ben Purrington at left back. You've got no Naby because Naby can't play because he's black. You've got Locks playing centre half. You've got Adam Matthews at right back. Okay. You've got no Prats because Prats can't play. Me and Maka can't play up front. Chooks can't play up front. So what you got? Do you see what I mean? You've lost a lot of players.
Yeah. So what do you make of, Matt Hancock coming out and criticising Premier League footballers and saying that they're not doing their part to support?
He's an idiot.
He's
an idiot. So, okay, get this stat, right? There is a figure, and it's for the number of the top, I believe it's 200. I have to find, I've got a picture on my phone of a screenshot of this quote and of this stat. Now, I believe it's the top 250. It might be more than that. It might be 500. But that number of the top players in this country take home less, and when I say less, I mean substantially less, £250 million less than the same number of top paid bankers. Are the bankers at work?
No.
Nope. But
Obviously,
what they'll do,
footballers are whipping boys, you know.
Matt Hancock, the idiot, will turn around and say footballers. No, he's an
Yeah,
idiot. No.
yeah,
Matt
yeah.
Hancock, it seems to be started with people called Matt. It's something about people called Matt. Matt Hancock is an idiot.
Oh, Southall as well, yeah.
Because he has turned round and he has singled out footballers, but didn't want to come for his mates who are bankers. Because they're his mates. They're the people who bankroll this country. They're the people who they break bread with. They are the people who fund their campaigns to make office, right?
Yep.
So he ain't going to come for them, is he? He's not going to come for his mates. The same way I'm not going to come for my mates. But you can't put that out there without simply acknowledging the fact that this sum of money earned by the top however many bankers it is in this country is a lot more. Nah, the man's an idiot. The man's an idiot. How you can literally just try and draw footballers out makes no sense whatsoever. It doesn't make any sort of sense, but he's done it at the end of the day. And to be fair, the people who are at the forefront of football, so let's say Sky Sports News, so I'm talking about your Gary Neville's, your Jamie Carragher's, they've come out and they've absolutely slaughtered him. So I think that's fair and deserved, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, so I want to get your views on. Obviously, we want to do a full pod sit down in the near future, but racism in football, you know, it's a big talking point. There's lots of debates. Obviously, Raheem Sterling came out and shifted the status quo. He done it very eloquently, spoke, you know, with great erudition about the topic. What's your view on racism in football?
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. There isn't any other way of describing it. It is an absolute farce, and it's a joke that in 2020 we're still having to deal with this. Like, it's sad. It's very sad.
So, what solutions? Because people always talk about racism when a high-profile incident happens. Then once it blows over, it's back to normal. So, what's your view on racism in the game?
It comes at the moment. It seems to be coming in waves. And do you know what? I did an interview with Talksport. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, and basically how I feel about it. Right. So bear with me on this. It blows up. Racism. The racist act happens. Okay. It blows up. The news goes mad. Racism's wrong. Racism's wrong. Everyone's this. Everyone's that. We're all human. We should all be treated the same. It's the same as sexism, for example, and the whole gender debate and all of that. Everyone's the same. Okay.
Yep.
They make a big song and dance over it for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, maybe a couple of months.
Yeah.
And how I feel is it's almost like, right, monkey's back in the cage now. Let's lock it. So it's like, it happens. They make a big thing of it. It's so wrong. It's wrong. Racism shouldn't be happening in today's day and age.
So
We've
what's
got
the
education
solution now?
now.
What do you think the solution is?
The only racism is learned behavior. Okay. The only way of teaching people that racism is wrong is to teach them. Now, we have religious education in school, and that kind of thing should teach you to be more tolerant of other religions and other belief systems and whatever. But it doesn't, because still to this day, you see somebody get on a plane with brown skin who looks Muslim, and people go, oh my God, I hope I make it off this plane.
Yeah.
Now that is a learned behavior. That has been learned from the things that have happened in society. So 9/11. So because there was a couple of people who did bad, and I say a couple, and obviously that's loose, but because there's a couple of people who did bad and they followed what they claim to be so-and-so religion, everyone who's of that religion is bad. So I've seen Sikh people be called Muslim and be called this and be called that. Now, and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, but Sikhs are up there with the most gentle and loving and caring people that I've ever come across.
So is it the media's fault then?
100%. Like nobody else is putting views out there that are being garnered and seen by massive amounts of people and the mass population that is causing any sort of mass hysteria. Can you imagine, right? So, and we've seen this, and it's sad, and I don't really want to talk about it, and I don't want to be called any name for talking about this, but you see, like, let's say the bloke, do you remember the bloke who went to, there's a film about it now, actually, I watched the trailer for it the other day, the bloke who went onto the island, somewhere in Scandinavia, I think it might have been Finland, and he shot up all them kids. Do you remember it?
No, I haven't heard of it, no.
So, I can't remember when it was only a few years back, right? If anyone knows about it, can they write
Was
what
it
his
like a
name was?
Danish or Norwegian guy?
Yes, him.
Okay, yeah.
So he went up onto this island and shot up all these kids, right? But that wasn't terrorism. That's just one dude who's got mental health problems.
Yeah.
The bloke who shot up the what was the festival in Vegas?
I think that MGM. I think it was like the MGM Grand, yeah?
He shot up the whole thing, but because he's a white person, oh, he's got a history of mental illness. No, he's a terrorist. He's a terrorist the same way Osama bin Laden is a terrorist. The same way Saddam Hussein was involved in terrorist stuff. Okay? Now, if you're a terrorist, you're a terrorist. It don't matter the colour of your skin. It don't matter what religion you follow.
Anders Breivik in Norway. That's the guy,
him.
Yeah.
So it does not make a bloody difference who you are, what your name is, what colour your skin is, who you say God is. Okay? You're a terrorist. End of discussion. And the media has a real problem with saying anybody who isn't brown and potentially Muslim or a follower of Islam is a terrorist. They have massive problems with that. Massive problems with it. And Piers Morgan is one of the only people who calls it out.
So what, you're a fan of Piers Morgan? Right.
Nah, I'll be honest with you, nah. Piers Morgan's mad. Like, he's always on stuff. But I do like the fact that he's brutally honest and he says it as it is. I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, when you look at the leaders around the world, obviously I don't really want to get into politics and stuff like that. Boris Johnson,
that's where it comes
the comments that he said about. So this all skews the mindset of people up and down the land, man.
It's where it comes from. And let's be honest, where like Trump, it comes from Trump. Like, that's where it comes from. So I can't see it changing anytime soon. Like Trump talks about, you see politicians talking about women, is it the hijab? Women in hijab, and calling it the letterbox or the post.
Yeah.
Really? How fucking disrespectful is that?
Yeah,
but
it's crazy.
Bro, it beggars belief, man. It beggars belief.
All right, we're going to get back to the football. And obviously, Charlton fans have been clamouring up and down the land. They want to know about your future. Obviously, I know you can't really comment because everything's up in the air. But what's like a message that you want to give to Charlton fans if they don't see you don, the red shirt again?
It could only be thank you. Like, thank you for everything. Thank you for the support that you've given me. So if it is the end and I don't play again, like, it can only be thank you. And like, I've loved the 2 years. That's the only thing I can say. I have no negative feelings or no negative thoughts on my time at Charlton. And like, to get promoted last year was fucking unreal, man. The way we did it, bro. Having obviously, like, the time of the year it is, and like, it's like flashback a year to all of the things that happened. To see it again and watch it again, bro, it was mad. Like, it's been one of the best 2 year periods. Do you know what? What I will say is the last 5 years have been the best 5 years of my life. So, and that's a massive thank you to the people who have employed me, the managers who have backed me and played me, and the fans who have supported me, whether they've been wearing blue and yellow or they've been wearing red and white. Like, they've been unbelievable. And if this is the end of my 2 years at the football club, then the only thing I can say is fucking thank you, because it's been fucking unreal. Excuse my language.
No worries, man. No worries. So where do you see yourself, like, amongst the top Championship strikers? Obviously, we've got Ollie Watkins. We've got Mitro at Fulham. You know, Lee Bowyer came out and said you're one of the top 5 strikers in the league. How do you, like, marry yourself up against these players?
We're all different. If you look at, if in my opinion, if you take Mitrovic, he's the best number 9 in this league as a number 9. If you take Ollie Watkins is the best converted winger I've ever seen. Like, not ever seen, because Ronaldo was a winger. Ollie Watkins is unbelievable, bro. We're talking about a kid, a young lad, because he's a young lad who was a winger, has been played up front for this season and has done madness. Like, he's done madness.
Yeah,
he's been on job. He's done his shit. So, do you know what? If my manager and other managers are talking about me in the same breath as the players that I can see are the best, or the stats and the charts say they are the best too. So if anyone can talk about me in that same breath, then I must be doing something right.
You've got 1 in 2. You know,
So look, end of the day, I'm proud. I'm proud of what I've done and what I've achieved this season so far, and I can't really say anything else on it. Like, I am proud of what I've been able to achieve. And someone's just said about Eze.
Yeah, what's your views on Eze? We had him on the podcast. Again, like, if you're not following our podcast, pod_TBG on Instagram, please follow now. Podcast_TBG on Twitter, The Beautiful Game Podcast. Make sure you follow us. Follow our YouTube, The Beautiful Game Podcast. We've got a lot of content on there. You know, we've interviewed Rio Ferdinand, John Joe Shelby, Ebere Eze. We've got a massive one coming out on Monday with the England International. So yeah, as you were saying, Lyle, sorry about the plug-in, but yeah.
No. Hey, you got to plug it. You got to plug it. Isn't it?
Yeah, bro.
Nah, the kid, honestly, I spoke on him. I don't know when it was. It was a few weeks back, and talent, crazy. Do you know what though? You need to sort this. We need a penalty shootout.
Okay.
Me against him.
He's been bagging. I think like 4 and 4. He scored like 2 against home.
His penalties are mad. All right. So people talk about the way I take penalties. I watch him take penalties. They're crazy the way he takes penalties. All right. So we need to get him involved in a penalty shootout. Once all of this madness is done, like, we need a goalkeeper, a film crew, because it needs to be filmed.
Yeah.
And we need, me and him, penalty shootout. 10 penalties, because
you know what? I'm gonna message him straight after this.
It could be mad.
Set up the challenge.
It needs to happen. It needs to happen. And you know what? We need to have some sort of something on it. We need some sort of I don't know, something on it. But there needs to be something on it. Like, we need a goalkeeper.
Whoever wins gets a move to the Premier League.
All right, cool. I'm involved. But no, you need to hook that up, because I've wanted to say this for a few weeks, and I've had this idea, but we really need to have him against me penalty shootout, because it could be crazy.
No, I'm gonna clip this out, then I'll send it to him. So yeah, another thing, talking about penalties, where does that technique come from? It seems like you take an aid, and it's one of them ones. We've seen it with Pogba as well. I think there was a game against maybe Leicester, the slow walk-up. If you miss it, you've opened yourself up for pelters. If you score it, it's okay.
Bro, I will miss one, right? I'm saying this right now. I will miss one, okay? And when I miss one, I'm going to look like the biggest idiot in the world. It's going to be mad, okay? And it's going to go viral. And I will look horrendous. So, but by the same token, I think I've taken 11 now, maybe more than that, like this, with a slower run up, which has then got slower and slower. So it's now strolled in the park kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's developed into that, and I've not missed. So, and I don't need to touch wood or anything like that. Like, I've not missed yet. I will miss, and I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot when I miss. All right, and I understand that and I accept that. But it works. It works for me. So why would I change it?
So what made you start the technique? Was it a bit of fun? Then you thought, you know what, this actually slaps, you know? Or how did it come about?
So I missed. We got beat by Rochdale 1-0 last year, and I missed. And I sat down with the goalkeeper coach, Andy Marshall, and I sat down with Dylan Phillips, and I said to them, like, look, I need to be more accurate with my penalties. I need to be able to score all the time, because I was taking like 3 penalties and missing 1, and that's unacceptable. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's unacceptable. So I was like, I need to work at this. So from that point, we started working on it, and it started off with a slower run up where I could then be more accurate and go higher, like lift the ball and go not top corner, but you know what I mean, that up there out of the goalkeeper's reach kind of thing. So it started off like that, and then it just got slower and slower and slower, to the point that, like, it's actually mad. Like, it is so long now.
Crazy. There's a few questions. I'm just going to go into our question box. Obviously, Scott Jones, thoughts on Conor Gallagher? Obviously, he was the loanee from Chelsea. He came to the club, and I think it was recalled back in January. Then he went to Swansea. So what's your thoughts on him?
So it's funny, actually, because I played with his older brother, Danny, at Wimbledon. And I remember last pre-season, Danny called me, and he said to me, he said, Lyle, talk to me about Charlton. So I was like, why is he asking about Charlton? Like, I don't get it. What's his angle? So I started telling him, and he said to me, he said, okay, he said, because my brother, they want to take my brother on loan from Chelsea. I was like, okay, now I get it. All right, cool. So I told him all about it. Like, told him about the manager, told him about the players, the setup, the whole lot. The next week, Conor signs on loan. I will never forget his first training session. You know, when most good players turn up at clubs, and like you see players going, oh my God, he turned up that day and he was the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Conor was crap.
Wow, seriously?
Bro, I promise you. I promise you. No. He turned up, right? And it was like he rolled out of bed. It was like he turned up and he kept getting the ball nicked off him. We were playing small-sided games and he kept getting the ball nicked off him. And I don't know if you'll remember, but he kept getting the ball nicked off him. I remember looking at him thinking, bro, you're going to need to be a whole lot quicker, like, to play at this level, because you can't be like dilly-dallying on the ball and pissing about.
Yeah.
Take me back to, I think it was around Christmas time, and we were playing a small-sided game on the pitch at the Valley before we travelled. And the kid took the piss.
What was he doing?
He was sitting people down. Like, when I'm telling you, he was on 2-touch or 1-touch. He's sitting people down. He's body fainting and people falling on the floor. He's lobbing the goalkeeper when the goalie like stood there. It was mad.
So would you say the club made him better, or initially he came to Charlton with the wrong approach, fresh off Chelsea?
No, I think when he turned up, I don't think he realised the tempo that it was going to be played at, because he's come through the system there, and he's played 23s, he's played 18s, but he's trained with the first team, but he'd never played, obviously, a game in men's football. So it was his first loan. Like, bear in mind, the kid, I think he was like 18 when he turned up still. So bear in mind, he's a baby. So I think it was just he didn't really know what to expect. And then, like, everyone, when we train at an intensity. Now, you're playing in a small-sided game, you're in the middle of the pitch, you're surrounded by Darren Pratley's, Josh Cullen's, like, and these players get about. When I tell you they get about,
They're snapping at their ankles, man.
Exactly. So you can see the kind of player he's playing against then in training. And it was like, it must have been almost like a culture shock, because he's running around getting the ball nabbed off him at every opportunity. And I'm looking going, I don't think this kid's ready.
Yeah.
I couldn't have been more wrong. Bro, I swear to God. The next day, we go to Blackburn, okay? He comes on and he nails someone. And I'm thinking, hang on, this kid's a winger. He's a winger, and I've just seen him lift somebody up. Lift somebody up.
Wow.
I'm thinking there's a bit more to this boy than we've seen. So I was like, all right, cool. Let it roll, see what happens. Bro, the boy's talent is unbelievable.
So what, do you see him in the years to come, 2-3 years, being a Premier League regular?
It wouldn't surprise me if he's playing the Premier League next year.
For Chelsea?
Maybe not Chelsea, but I can see him playing in the Premier League next year, and maybe in 2 years playing for Chelsea, like similar to how Mason Mount's done it.
Yeah, going to Derby. Yeah.
But obviously, with that, there has to be the opportunity. The opportunity has to be there for him to do that. Now, I believe I saw a stat not long ago. Lampard has given 8 players debuts or something like that. It might have been on Rising Ballers. Lampard has given a lot of players their debuts this year, and I think that probably leaves Connor in a good kind of place, because the opportunity is there as long as Lampard is the manager.
Yeah.
So I hope he continues to develop as he's done this year, because if he does, the boy plays for England.
That's a big shout, but it's reasonable.
He's that
what he
good.
was doing at Charlton,
Bro,
he was doing bits, man.
He's that good.
Cool. I'm going to ask another question. We've got like 29, but I'll go through 2 more because I don't want to take too much of your time, bro.
All right, cool.
So you've got one from LFC Nino. How many goals does Lyle think he can score in Prem?
I mean, just one would do. I swear to God.
What? Would you be able to retire a happy man if you score 1 goal in the Premier League?
If I score 1 goal in the Premier League, I'm done. I'm happy. I'm fulfilled, because I was told I wouldn't be a professional footballer. I was told I wasn't good enough for League 2. I was told I wasn't good enough for League 1. I was told I'd never make it in the Championship.
If I stepped up the levels.
If I score 1 goal in the Premier League, I can die a happy man. If I don't, I'm still going to die a happy man, because I've proven everybody wrong. Like, I've done what they said I couldn't do when I was 18, when I was 20, when I was 24. I've done it. So, because I've done that, if I don't get the opportunity to ever play in the Prem, fine, not a problem. I have surpassed whatever I thought was possible. And I have done something that millions of people around the world dream of doing. And I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm content. Obviously, I'd love to get there. Don't get me wrong. The fire is still burning. I want to get there. I want to get there, and I want to score that goal in the Premier League, and I want my family to be there when I do that.
Match of the day and that.
Exactly. Like Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer and them, man. I'd be like, raw. Yeah. But if I don't get there, I don't get there. Bro, what I've achieved to this point, if I never played again, I'm happy. I am happy with what I've done.
All right, we're going to go to one more question. Before I go on to it, if you haven't followed our podcast handle on Instagram, please do. It's pod_TBG. Follow us. We've got lots of fresh content coming out. We've got an interview with an England international coming out on Monday. Follow our Twitter at podcast_TBG. Okay, so This is a good one. Any advice for young ballers now? So people want to come up.
Hard work. Now, one thing that goes along with the hard work is the attitude. So, and I've commented on this recently, I see a lot of people want to be footballers. But do they want to be a footballer and play games and play 400 games in their career, or do they want the lifestyle of a footballer? This is my biggest question mark over young players now. Now, the attitude has to come with the hard work. Obviously, the attitude dictates that you will work hard, but the attitude has to come with the hard work, because that is the biggest thing in football. You'll see some players talking, and I don't want to name names, but you've seen ex-players talking and saying, this player was better than me, that player was better than me. But I made it to the top. Why did I make it to the top? Because I was willing to do what they weren't, and that's work hard. So don't be the one, and I know people like this, don't be the one who is spoken about in the vein of, do you know what? Like, he was better than me, but he never made it. Because I know people who, when I go down to goals, or I used to go Catford pits, who would twist me off the pitch. Bro, nutmeg me, make me look like an idiot, make me look like a fool in front of people, and I'd hate it. But where are they now? With all of that talent and all of that ability, where are they now? So why didn't they make it? There's a reason. There's always a reason why people didn't make it.
It's crazy because I remember we went down to QPR's training ground to Butlers Ferdinand, and he said like a group of youngsters came to him and they were like, oh, I want to be a footballer. Do you have a mansion? Do you have a model girlfriend? Do you have a nice car? And these are all the trappings of success.
Exactly.
But his question was, do you want to put in the work? Do you know what being a footballer entails? Training 5-6 days a week, having to be disciplined with your diet, stuff like that.
Exactly. And that's what people don't see. People see, and we further down the leagues get dragged into this as well. It's well Wayne Rooney earns 350 grand a week at Man United, or Paul Pogba earns this, and this player earns this, and this player earns that. Like, it's not like that for everyone. Not everyone earns 100 grand a week. Not everyone earns 50 grand a week. Not everyone earns 20 grand a week. Not everyone earns fucking 10 grand a week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how hard are you willing to work that at the end of it, you can turn around and say, I did this? Because you walk down the street, right? And people don't care what shoes you've got on your feet, whether you've got a D squared cap on your head or off-white jumper.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, I could walk past the valley, right? Past a load of Charlton fans, and they will remember the fact that we got promoted. I can walk past Wimbledon, they'll remember we got promoted. They won't give
legacy.
They will not give a flying monkeys what car I drive. They won't.
It's true.
But they will remember the things that we achieved. Now, the only way to achieve is to work hard. You will get all of those nice things if you work hard. But don't let that be the reason that you want to become a footballer, because you ain't going to get there. If that's your reason and that's your why, and we talk about why a lot, if that's your why, you ain't going to get there. You ain't going to get there.
There's a book on that as well. I think Simon Sinek, What's Your Why? So for people that haven't read that, it's a good book, and that kind of explains what Lyle's talking about as well. So yeah, Lyle, it's been like an hour and a half. It started at 7. Time has just flown by, man. This
goes quick,
gems on top of gems on top of gems. And obviously would love to do this another time with the lads, obviously Dot and Budge, because we do it as a 3-hour podcast.
Definitely.
I'd love to welcome you on and just go through your career again. But bro, it's been a pleasure, and love for coming on, man.
Bro, thank you for having me on.
Appreciate the support, and you're a top fella. You know, you're a nice guy, and I think Charlton fans recognize that as well. So obviously, before we end, I just want to plug our podcast. So it's podcast_TBG. So on our Instagram, follow at pod_TBG, at the Beautiful Game Podcast. And on YouTube, it's the Beautiful Game Podcast. And we've got some episodes coming out. We've had episodes with Rio Ferdinand. We've got one coming out with England International. We've spoken to Eze, John Joe Shelby. So please, consume our content. And Lyle, where can the people find you, bro?
On Instagram. Find me on Instagram or running around the training pitch.
What about Twitter? How come you don't use your Twitter no more?
Bro, I'm banned from Twitter.
But your app's still there. Like when I
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't got an app on my phone, but I'm banned from Twitter. You know why I'm banned from Twitter? Because I'm honest. I get in trouble.
So as a footballer, like I've noticed just before we round up, you see the Troy Deeney, you see the Danny Rose, people that are outspoken, they get a bad rap. So as a footballer, do you think people expect you to be a robot?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so people want you, if you play for their club, to say the right things and to do the right things. But you're a human being the same way as anyone else. So you have an opinion on everything just like everyone else does. So it's difficult. It is very difficult. Now, I'll be honest, I miss Twitter. I used to have a hell of a time winding people up. It was great. It was great. And at some point, I might be back on Twitter.
Yeah,
but
we want to see it, man.
For now, with everything that's happening in the world and in football, it's just not important. So I'm going to steer clear of Twitter. And there's a lot of negativity on Twitter as well. That's the other thing. Instagram is a lot more positive and a lot nicer place. But Twitter is mad, bro. You can have a whole fight with someone in 35 seconds.
It's a jungle. That's why I just stick to football Twitter, man.
Crazy. It's crazy. Kelly, I don't miss Sam Quek, but I look forward to winding her up again soon because I had her on
toast. Who's that? The Liverpool fan, I believe.
Yeah, I had her. I had her on toast last year. Had her on toast a whole year ago on toast. Sam Quek spread over Lyle's toast. It was mad. It was great fun.
All right, bro, man. On that note, we're gonna end. But once again, bro, love for showing support. Obviously, I'll message you after this, to chat. But this was sick. You were dropping gems on top of gems. And yeah, I'll just you, bro, yeah?
Thank you, bro. Take care of yourself, yeah? See you later.